Welcome, everyone, to the Lincolnville Selectmen's meeting. It is the 27th of January. David, would you care to read the quote of the evening?
Certainly. Government is too big and too important to be left to the politicians. Chester Bowles.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to open the podium for any non-agenda items.
So I have a prepared comment of about 3 minutes in length. My topic is renewable and sustainable energy for our community. Good evening, my name is Greta Galesian and I live on Searsmont Road. I first want to express my gratitude to the Select Board for including public comment or citizens forum in the meeting agenda. Quote that you started the meeting with can speak to how important it is for citizens to be involved. Additionally, I would like to thank the Select Board for the support they have given in the past to community efforts for energy conservation and bringing renewable, sustainable energy to our town. Our municipal solar array has created jobs for Mainers, is generating electricity locally, and increasing our energy independence, while it is significantly reducing carbon emissions into the very air that we breathe. Tonight, I am speaking for myself. I am not representing any group, committee, team, association, organization, or business. Tonight, my intent is to speak publicly to all of Lincolnville's elected officials. So to you, the Select Board, I am also speaking to the elected school committee and to the elected budget committee, as well as I want to speak to all Lincolnville residents of my longstanding interest in promoting public health and protecting our environment, the natural world. In my career as a nurse practitioner and nurse midwife, my professional energies over 30 years were focused on health promotion, preventative health, and providing health care to women and their families. Human health is dependent on the environmental health, and all life is connected. When I learned last summer of an opportunity Revision Energy had proposed to the 5-town community school district, SAD 28 and School Union 69, to join a solar farm in Livermore Falls, which could provide electricity to the schools, I was curious. As I and others studied the power purchase agreement proposal, it is clear to me it is a very good deal for our town. Camden Hills Regional High School and SAD 28 in Rockport and Camden have accepted this PPA proposal. And based on analysis by Lincolnville's energy team, this PPA is projected to save our town between $150,000 and $220,000 over 20-year term of the contract, with no upfront investments. A cleaner environment sustains and promotes all life on our planet. Solar is cheaper and cleaner. I sincerely believe that this PPA proposal is worthy of community-wide discussion. Lincolnville residents need and deserve more information. I have had town people on 2 separate occasions over the last 10 days be surprised when I talked to them about this PPA and said, 2 different people, 2 different conversations, oh, Lincolnville Central School doesn't have solar? I thought it's had solar since we put our municipal array in. We know there's general support for renewable and sustainable energy in this town. And I think there needs to be a path forward so that we can have community-wide discussion about it so that people can specifically evaluate this proposal. The better informed our citizens are, the stronger our community is. So my hope is that as a community, we can find a path forward for us, Lincolnville residents all, to be able to come together in a town meeting where we can become informed, we can discuss pros and cons, and we can evaluate whether this specific proposal does or does not meet our community's needs and values, and then vote. I thank you for your attention and your time. Good evening.
Thank you, Greta. Anyone else for any non-agenda items? Seeing nothing, let's move along to the administrator's report.
Since we have a big crowd, I'll be short and sweet because everyone wants to go someplace else. Just a reminder that all dog licenses expired at the end of December. The state's nice enough to give you a grace period to avoid the late fees, which expires on Friday. So if you haven't registered your dog, you're one of those 100+ people that are still outstanding. Avoid the state late fees by doing that by Friday. You can do it online, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until Friday. After that, the state shuts down the system and you'll have to come in and visit us here in the town office. The gravel roads, if we keep getting spring in January, we've had a few challenges on those. We're likely to be in on your next agenda asking for authority to post the roads because we don't seem to be having much cold weather to freeze them up solid. And finally, agenda item number 11 has an error. It refers to agenda item number 9, and it should be 10. My mistake. That's it, unless you've got something else.
Any questions for David?
Let's see, did you reach out to, we talked about last time, you were gonna reach out to, hold on, one second.
Check your notes.
Got it highlighted here. Adventure advertising.
Yes, we have those files.
Great, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for David? Okay, let's move along to upcoming meetings and announcements.
All meetings are here in the town office unless announced otherwise. The Mid-Coast Solid Waste Corporation Board of Directors meets Wednesday, January 29th, 6:30 at the Camden Town Office. The Planning Board is scheduled to meet Wednesday, January 29th, 7 p.m. Recreation Commission scheduled to meet Monday, February 3rd, 5:30. The EMS Performance Review Committee meets Thursday, February 6th, 6:30 p.m. at the Rockport Town Office. And the Board of Selectmen meet next on Monday, February 10th, 6 p.m.
Thank you very much. Are there any upcoming community events anyone care to share? Sure, come on up.
My name is still Greta Galusha. There is a group in town that is trying to get together a public information meeting about the proposal that was submitted to the school committee. Don't have details, but just want to put out that information that once we get venue, and we're hoping this to happen in a very short time frame. So we will post on the Lincolnville Bulletin Board for that. And one second announcement is that it's an ongoing community event. Every Saturday at the Lincolnville Gym, there is pickleball. $2 suggested donation. First hour for beginners and introduction to pickleball, but it's 2.5 hours for open play. And it's a great way to meet your neighbors and friends and get some moderate exercise. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other upcoming community events? Seeing nothing more there, let's move along to the meeting minutes from the 13th of January.
I move that the board approve the January 13th, 2020 meeting minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing nothing, all those in favor? Thank you very much. And we have consideration of appointments for the newly formed broadband committee. Thank you all very much for coming in. We very much appreciate it. Does the board have any questions?
Seeing the overwhelming response, which is very good, thank you very much, should we bump up the members up to 5 members of the public? Should we bump that up a little bit? Or?
Agreed. I would love to hear a motion to that effect.
I move to change the number of public members to the broadband committee charge from 5 to 10.
So moved?
Second.
Seconded? Further discussion? Seeing nothing, all those in favor? Thank you very much. Now we have a lot of, typically, we don't allow late applicants, but because of our emphatic encouragement to get community participation at our last select board meeting, David and I discussed it, and we shared the applications that came in on Friday with the board, and we have the paper copies here in front of us. There were a couple of applications that didn't include any who are you and why do you want to serve? So I would ask, Jordan, would you care to come down to the podium, introduce yourself to the board, and tell us a little bit about why you want to participate in the committee?
Hello, everybody. I'm Jordan Barnett Parker. I'm also on the budget committee. I live up on Meadowlark. I own a small business in town. I'm married to Marissa, who's Kelly. Barnett Parker is my wife. It's funny because the first meeting we had at the budget committee, I had afterward mentioned that I had been a fan of and had been reading a lot about across the country municipalities which were taking control of utilities such as broadband and internet. And so when I saw that we were starting something exploratory wise on it, I got pretty excited. I know that in my own business, social media, videos, instructional tutorials and things like that are kind of exploding, and the service that we're all kind of relocated to is quite slow. It's like 4 megabits per second when you're really lucky. So uploading, editing, having any kind of interactive media like that, which is really, really important these days, especially in creative arts and custom made bespoke items, I'm finding. So that's why I'd like to get into it, because we're a small town. We don't have many options with different things, and I think that if we could change that, it would just be helpful to all of us. And I know there's a lot of small private business people too who work in their homes and try and raise their families, so that's why.
Excellent.
Thank you.
While we've got him in the hot seat, any further questions for Jordan? Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
And Jonathan, would you care to come up and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Jonathan Janitis. My wife and I moved here from Boston about 5 years ago, and I'm a remote worker. I couldn't tell you what my manager looks like, don't really see her so often, but I work for a technology company. I work for Oracle. So this is something that I've got a lot of knowledge in, and I feel like I could give a lot of information to the committee in terms of how it all works and the different types and benefits and limits and so forth. And I know I am a fortunate person to have high-speed fiber optic internet service, and I wouldn't be able to live here and do my job if I didn't have it. So it's made a huge impact for me and my family.
Any questions for Jonathan? Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Any other questions for any of the other applicants? Can I hear a motion then? You could probably broaden it to not make it 3 hours long.
Do you want to name everyone?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I move that David Perkins, Dorothy Havey, Jonathan Winitis, Becky Johnson, George Cook, Kimberly Grinnell, Jordan Barnett Parker, Mike Ray, and Gina Sawyer, and I hope I haven't forgotten anybody, be appointed to the Broadband Committee with a term ending June of 2020.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing nothing, all those in favor? And thank you to all of you who have volunteered your precious time to help us make strides in this. It's been many years, and so I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And procedurally, just so you know, I'll probably be in touch regarding the first coordination meeting so that we can all get off on the right foot.
Excellent.
And are you gonna appoint 2 board members too?
Yep.
Now, we've got some other committees you might be interested.
While we've got you here. The charge also provides for 1 or 2 members of the Board of Selectmen to serve on the committee, and we have had interest expressed. So in that light, can I please have a motion?
I move that Selectman Garrettson and Selectman Fishman also be appointed to the Broadband Committee with the terms ending June of 2020.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing nothing, all those in favor? Abstention?
I guess we have to, right? I mean, that's
You can.
technically.
It would look terrible if you voted for yourself. Thank you very much. Anything else on this particular topic before we move along? And I'm guessing those of you may want to escape.
It's okay.
It's all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Mike. Pays to write something on your application, doesn't it?
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, man.
And as the room settles down, we'd like to welcome Stacy up to the podium for an update from the. Oh gosh, yeah. Sorry, I just saw you sitting right in front of me. Sorry. Finance committee first. No. Yep. You are. You are. She was right. You were just in my mind from tabling it.
Well, here we are, another January.
Yes,
and,
again.
Luckily, have the ability to be the bearer of pretty good news this year. So, just to kind of give background, my name is Linwood Downs. I'm a committee member on the Financial Advisory Committee, along with Gary Schwab, Marianne Mercier, Kayla, and Dave. And we meet periodically to review the performance of the investment managers who are charged by the town with investing our reserves. And just to kind of give you a little bit of background on the committee, just as the annual update, the committee was formed several years ago with the charge to come up with a reserve policy for the town. And after doing research into many other towns in Maine, the committee recommended that the town have as a reserve approximately 3 months worth of annual expenditures. And we've had that policy for almost 18 years now. Right now, the annual expenditures of the town, at least as of the last fiscal year, was about $8.6 million. And the reserve account right now, the unassigned reserve account, is approximately $3.167 million worth of reserves, which represents about 4.5 months worth of expenditures. So we have a policy where we thought it was prudent to have a 3-month expenditure reserve, and we're about 50% over that at this point because we had a great investment year. That was part of the reason why we've had such a nice rise in our reserve. So approximately $1 million more than what 3 months worth of expenditures would be. As far as performance this year, I'm happy to report that after taking fees out from our investment manager, our overall portfolio, which is very conservative, with about 78% in CDs or fixed income, and remaining 22% in mutual funds, primarily index funds, returned for the town about 9.3%, which is I think the best year we've had. And as they say, a rising tide lifts all boats, and the market was very good this year on the stock market, although that's a little bit more than 1/5 of our portfolio. And in addition to that, Interest rates have improved as well, and we managed to gain the benefit of that. So between our investments in relatively safe investments, which are primarily CDs and highly rated funds, not necessarily bonds, but bond funds, and the market, we had a very, very good year. And based on that, overall, just to kind of give you a report on income for the year, let's see, we had income of about dividends or interest of about $129,000 off of this portfolio for the year, and we've had realized and unrealized gains of about $295,000. So total, the appreciation and income for the year was approximately $424,000 for a portfolio which averaged about 3 point, let's get the number, I think you have it with you, about $4.9 million was the total portfolio between unassigned reserves and assigned reserves. So overall, a good year. The investment manager, First is doing a very good job for us, has continued to do a very good job for us. Since we've hired them as a town, they've generated a return for us on an annual basis of about 4.4%, which is in a low interest rate environment that we've been with for over a decade. That's very, very strong performance, at least in our view. So we recommend just keeping with the First, and we will continue to monitor their performance on a periodic basis. So we had a good year.
Excellent.
Any questions?
Thank you, as always, for a wonderful report
Okay.
and good news.
It is good. Well, it's good to have good news.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Stacy.
Good evening. I'm Stacy Parra, the Chair of the Wage and Personnel Committee, and here to report about your charge regarding the Finance Director job description and pay scale. The committee met twice. We reviewed the job description and we found the job description to need no changes. We found it to be accurate. And then we also met and did a similar study that we did with the administrative assistant positions using those similar type population town in the Mid-Coast community. And we found that the current wage to be accurate and the current wage looking into the future based on the wage steps to be accurate, or in the ballpark of where other towns were. So we feel there is no change needed
Excellent.
here or on the immediate future unless drastic changes happen to those other communities.
Okay. Excellent. Any questions for Stacy? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you, Stacy.
And let's move right along to Selectmen updates. Josh, you want to start?
I don't have any updates.
Okay.
I do not have any updates. For Midcoast Solid Waste, our last governance committee meeting and our strategic and capital planning meeting, which I'm on both of those committees, they both got canceled. One due to not having enough for a quorum. The other one, I believe, probably the same. Wednesday night, we have a Midcoast Solid Waste Board of Directors meeting at 6:30. At 5 o'clock is our governance committee meeting for an hour and a half. So once we have a meeting, I'll have something to report. So.
Okay. Yeah, the EMS Performance Review Committee or group was canceled due to weather. And so we have one upcoming. Anything to report?
Oh, no,
Okay.
nothing to report. No.
David?
Nope, nothing to report. We didn't have a meeting for personnel committee for solid waste last time, and I'm not due again until first of next month.
Okay. Moving rapidly along, let's have a discussion regarding the draft that we have in front of us for the Veterans Honor Roll Committee. And we do have a representative here from the proposed, well, from the Park Committee. Interested member of the community, shall we say. Were there any thoughts or changes that anyone wished to make? I didn't see any issues with it. I think it's an excellent charge and an excellent project.
Yeah, looks good to me.
Can I have a motion then?
I move that the Lincolnville Veterans Honor Roll Committee be charged, dated January 27th, 2020, be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing nothing, all those in favor? And so on our next agenda, we'll have a discussion regarding adopting a policy.
Correct.
Excellent. Does the interested community member wish to get up and address the board? Okay. Excellent. Thumbs up. Anything else on this topic? Alrighty. Moving rapidly along, I would like a motion to enter into an executive session to discuss the disposition of real property, where premature disclosure of the information would prejudice competitive bargaining.
I move that pursuant to Title I MRSA Section 4056C, that the Board of Selectmen enter into executive session to discuss a possible disposition of real property where premature disclosure of the information would prejudice the competitive bargaining position of the town.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing nothing, all those in favor? Thank you very much. Here's where we have to boot you all out. Extra gold stars for staying.
So will you still be taking action on item 11? Or have you already done it?
We have not, it's pending, you know,